Saturday.
Starting.
Saturday. Science Saturday.
We are live.
Saturday.
You should be live, Kitty.
And we are live. Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day here in the Virgin Islands. It is a little windy, a little overcast. We had an amazing little thunder last night. But now it is time for Science Saturday. So, as you can see, I am streaming from one of my favorite locations, my living room, because we are joining virtually with a very, very cool researcher, and we are going to be talking about a very popular topic, charismatic megafauna. We are talking about sea turtles. So, I've got Scott on the screen. Hey, Scott, who are you? Where are you? Why are you? Welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Scott Eames. I'm actually coming to you from Concordia. So if anyone doesn't know where Concordia is an incredible eco resort overlooking Salt Pond on the east end of St. John, and it is fantastic.
Nice. Are you doing research out there, or just lucky to be staying at an amazing eco resort, or both?
I wish I was just lucky enough to stay here, but no. So I believe Tim Allen is the owner of Concordia, and he was lucky enough. We ran into him last year, which was the first year of our research, and he knew because we really do rely on housing donations, or we want to rely on housing donations for the work we do. He donated a week out here in Concordia in 3 properties as well, so three actual properties for us.
Wow.
And so it was huge, and it allowed us to do our research. So it was really nice.
That is really cool. I'm so jealous. I love Concordia. So the name of your organization is the Hawksbill Project, right? I've got one of your stickers in my office. I am familiar. So what is big picture elevator pitch? What do you do?
What do we do? That's fantastic. So this is actually a very easy question to easy question to answer. So, in the Caribbean, there are critically endangered Caribbean hawksbill sea turtles. These sea turtles. So we're not talking all sea turtles. We're talking a specific sea turtle. So that specific sea turtle is a critically endangered Caribbean hawksbill sea turtle. And what we do is we go into a place, just like we did last year with St. John, that basically has no information about their hawksbills. Maybe there's some YouTube videos, maybe there's a person who goes snorkeling quite a bit and they have a lot of documentation of seeing them, but there's no actual hardcore data for all the bays and locations that they could possibly be. So what we do is we go in and stick our head underwater for about 2 weeks at a time and try to count all the hawksbills.
Ooh, okay.
Yep.
So I have some pictures and a video from you. I'm going to save that for a little bit later so we can kind of get a broader idea of everything you're doing. So why? What does this data inform? I love data. We love vocab words in Science Saturday, and I'm going to add critically endangered to our vocab words.
Yep.
But what do you learn from finding out how many hawksbills are in an area, other than the obvious how many are there?
Yeah, exactly. So, for anyone that doesn't know, hawksbill sea turtles are very crucial to coral reef and nearshore habitats. So we want to have as many hawksbills as we can. And everybody who's out there should know that coral reefs with climate change are facing a number of issues. And so we need as many hawksbills as possible. But again, this is the issue they have, is that they have been reduced dramatically. So one of the beautiful things in all this research is I have found papers published dating back to the 70s, but they actually document, so 1690, there's actually documentation from the island of St. Thomas for hawksbill sea turtles being taken. So,
Oh.
for anyone that doesn't know, their major plight is their beautiful shell. So the French and the English at the time really fancied them for jewelry, basically.
Mm-hmm. And that's what people call tortoiseshell jewelry. It's not actually a tortoise; it's a sea turtle.
Unfortunately for them, absolutely. So,
Yikes.
so hundreds of years of exploitation has led to kind of what the consensus is that you're looking about 1% of the population. So you're looking about a 99% decrease in the amount of Caribbean Hawksbill sea turtles that should be there. And that's just not the same for the green sea turtles. So green sea turtles also present. We see a lot of those. In fact, last year we saw so many and we didn't count them. This year we actually, for the National Park Service, for Friends of the Virgin Islands, we actually just started counting green sea turtles. We couldn't stop to do research on them because if we did, we wouldn't get anything done because there's just so many of them. But back to the Hawksbills, we're going after them. They've been exploited. Climate change, reef. We need them, and so what we try to do is we want to give managers and people that have a stake in these islands an opportunity to know, okay, here's how many you have, or here's where they are, and also here's where they aren't.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes perfect sense. A little bit about the Hawksbills and like more about them. You said that they're really important for the reef. I've seen videos and I've seen them personally, like eating sponges and stuff. Is that how they're helpful, or is there more things? Are they out there like sniping pollution, or are they causing spies?
So it's a little bit of it's just kind of and it's just a cliche, but a canary in a coal mine. So if you have a good ecosystem, if you have healthy reefs, you have more hawksbills. If you have less hawksbills or no hawksbills, then I would start to worry about the conditions of your reef. And so they kind of go hand in hand. And hawksbills they are referred to as spongivores, but it's actually quickly changing because their diet is widely varied. But they do really focus on sponges, which are competing with corals for space on a reef. So we want more hawksbills to remove sponges to allow corals to grow.
Okay, but to be clear, you don't want divers out there removing sponges. This is part of a balance. They're eating.
No. You gotta, yeah.
Sponges are not bad.
No, sponges aren't bad. No, in fact, sponges are good, right? Some of those things where it's some of those things where if you remove hawksbills, you inevitably can possibly get more sponges, which could lead to more hawksbills. So it's kind of a hand in hand thing. So just kind of let nature do its thing.
It's the balance.
Exactly.
Balance? I'm not sure how to do balance on the screen here, but I feel kind of like I'm dancing. It's the Hawksbill balance with the turtles and the sponge. All right, cool. That's really cool. So I like the idea of thinking of them as kind of indicator species. I think if we want to get really another vocab word, not the fanciest vocab word, but important for the balance and important to learn about the health of the reef, which we've done quite a few Science Saturdays on coral reefs. We've also done a few Science Saturdays on sea turtles, but never hawksbill specifically, so this is really fun. So I am curious. I want to know about, like, when you go out there, what are you doing? What is a day of research look like for you?
So ideally, a day of research, we kind of stick to an area. So I'm overlooking Salt Pond right now, Ram's Head, Booby Rock, and then going, east towards, I actually can't remember the name of the bay now all of a sudden, Group Pen and Kittle Bay. So basically, we just we get into the water, we spread out, usually in a group of 4, and you just basically want to cover an area. So we basically just swim down a habitat, and you're looking for hawksbills. So it's just repeat. So if it's if it's not that bay, it's the next bay. If it's not that next bay, it's the next one, and it's just kind of on and on for hours on end.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so for this specific project, are you tagging or measuring or weighing or anything?
Yeah, so this is beautiful. So last year was the first year of the project. We had 24 interactions and 17 actual sampled turtles. So that means we actually hand captured 17 Hawksbill sea turtles, and that was the start of the project, which is what we needed to do. So you just needed to start, and then from that first year, it really allowed us to plan for the second year. And so the second year we just finished yesterday, and pretty similar, a little bit down, but there's a reason for that that we can get into possibly. But so this year, similar numbers: 10 sampled, 15 interactions. So now what you're looking at is, I think that's a total of 20 to 22 or 23, 22 actual turtles that we've got genetic samples from. But basically, all that information starts, and then from year to year, you recapture another turtle, and we get growth rate data. So now we have 5 turtles that we recaptured this year from last year, and those turtles give us their growth rates. So now you can start to compare St. John's hawksbill growth rates with any other habitat that has hawksbills in the Caribbean.
Oh, that's really cool.
And that allows us to have an estimate about how healthy our hawksbills are, right? Are our hawksbills, is this how much they should weigh? Are they heavier? Are they lighter? Where are they? How fast are they growing? How slow are they growing? All that information. So that was really important.
Okay.
Then the next thing is, biggest thing is these turtles aren't coming from St. John. So the hawksbills that are on St. John aren't from St. John, more than likely. The nesting population here is just quite small.
Okay.
So they're probably from somewhere else in the Caribbean. A lot of research has been done genetically on hawksbills in the Caribbean. So the genetic information that we collect can at some point give us a best guess in terms of an island or a region that they're from, which is extremely important as well, because if we do this and it goes 50% of the hawksbills that are from here are from Antigua, then St. John becomes linked with Antigua in saying, we want you to keep producing hawksbills so we can keep receiving hawksbills.
Right. Okay. So I think this is a really good chance for us to take a look at this video that you sent me, which is really cool. For our viewing audience, I am attempting a screen share from my phone because the power keeps going out. So we're going to need to just bear with me for a second and hope that this goes. I don't think that I can talk once this happens, but this is just about a 30-second video. And as soon as we're here, I'm going to switch over to the video and
now I'm not sure she can talk. So if you can hear me, this just shows kind of the difficulty. So this is actually catching a hawksbill at 50 feet off the south side of St. John. And it is, it's like anything, some captures are easy, some captures are difficult. That was at 50 feet, so that was pretty difficult. And, you need to know what you're doing and do it safely.
okay, I'm back. That is so cool. So one, I think that it's important to realize that you guys are like highly trained, really good at one, free diving. Like what? I can't free dive any deeper than my butt, just because I have a buoy attached to my body. So 50 feet is just like mind blowing to me. Also, I watched that video a few times this morning when I was getting all my tech ready, and it wasn't until you grabbed the sea turtle that I saw what you were aiming for. And granted, I was on my tiny little phone screen, but dangerous in scuba diving. So, what I know about scuba does, I'm comfortable with that. But, man, like that is just insane. Also, I know, so I've been following your research on Facebook. Also, I've known you for very many years personally, and all of your Facebook posts say, this is done under permit, research, blah, blah, blah. It is a federal crime to harass sea turtles. So what you guys are doing is research. You're not just going down there chasing sea turtles.
Nope.
One thing I really like about that video is it shows very clearly that once you get it, you're holding the sides, you're not like causing any strain on its organs, and you go right to the surface where it can breathe. Because sea turtles breathe air, right? They're not breathing underwater.
That's correct. They are a reptile. They have lungs just like us. They need to breathe oxygen.
Yeah, so I just thought that was a really cool video, and thank you so much for sharing that. So once you reach the surface, the placement of the camera, you can see that you're both up at the top, able to breathe. What happens next? If we had just like a camera following you, what would we have seen next?
So first and foremost, you're absolutely right. We're actually double permitted as well. I want to let everyone know that. So we actually hold a National Marine Fishery permit, so that's a federal permit. And we actually hold a local Virgin Island permit as well. So this is double permitted. So we go through a pretty good process to get to the point where we can do this. And we are highly trained. I have done in-water work now, so I've done this for almost 20 years. So this is something that takes a lot of time and a lot of practice. You have to know what you're doing.
Right. When you say this research started last year, you're talking this very specific project.
Correct. The St. John project started last year, but I've been doing a lot of research since 2007, so it's been a long time. That actually dates myself, and yeah, now I'm feeling older.
It's okay. The fact that I've known you that whole time, we're there together. It's all right.
It's true. So the turtle. So what we want to do, one, I want to stress this because everyone has this image of Finding Nemo and that these turtles are soft and cuddly, and then they're made into stuffed animals. These are not stuffed animals. These are anything in the ocean has earned its place, and these things are tough as nails. So there's and that really comes from a place of respect, in that they're not soft, they're up for a fight, they are again nails. Next thing though, what we do is realize that we have, we are touching them, we are going after them for research, and we want them out of the water for the least amount of time as possible. So realistically, our goal is less than 60 minutes, if not faster. So once we get them, they're put on the boat. A lot of reptiles and animals have a reflex where if you cover their eyes, they calm down. Crocodiles, so forth, snakes. So
it works on me too.
Yeah, it worked me on me last night. So cover the eyes, they calm down a little bit. We keep them wet because obviously they can dry out. So they're kept wet, or it's moist, eyes are covered, and then it's a very quick process where we work up where we are taking body weight measurements, length, width, height, weight. They get 2 flipper tags in each flipper. They get a pit tag like you would your cat or dog to pass an integrated transmitter, and that allows us to, if the flipper tags fall out, that's basically permanent. And I've actually done that to so many Hawksbills that I actually took about 6 years ago, did it to myself just out of fairness. I figured if I've done it to 1,000 turtles, it's probably fair to do it to me. We take 2 genetic samples, and then they're on their way. So we work very quickly to get them, in the boat and then out of the boat as quickly as possible.
Wow, that's really cool. So what information did you put on your own pit tag? If found, please return to Hawksbill Project.
So this is good. So hazard integrated tag is 9 numbers, and so a friend of mine, when this happened, we ran to the lab to get the best number that we could, and I love the Virgin Islands so much that my tag actually ends in 340 for the VI. So that's what I took.
I love it. I think that's great. Funnily enough, I've heard a few people in the research field say that they've pit tagged themselves. So
It's only fair.
I mean, so how did it feel? Were you like, okay, or were you like, oh no?
No. It's not without anything, but it's not as bad as you think. It's one of those things where it's really quick. You just grab the skin and you're in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got this data. Your sea turtle was up on a boat, I presume, because I don't
Yep.
think that you're doing this free diving just like free for all. That would be insanity. And then they just get released back into the water.
Correct. We released them at the same point we captured them. Actually,
Okay.
same point we saw them. So yes. So put back
Okay.
right where they were.
Cool. Do you ever catch the same one in the same day? Or they're like, this guy again?
Yeah. So actually, what's hilarious? So obviously, we're doing this the same time each year, right? And within the context of a few days. So we caught a number of the same turtles basically a year apart. And so we see them, and so what's funny is some of them this year have definitely displayed some behavior of, oh, I know what you want, and they did not let us catch them. Because
Oh,
ultimately this is one of those things where it's a little bit of a game. So when we see them, we're trying to do our best to catch them, and at some point, they're trying not to be caught. And some of the animals that we've caught, some of the hawksbills we've caught on St. John have been really big hawksbills.
how big does a hawksbill get?
So that's an excellent question. They can be in the 80, large hawksbills can get up 89, 90 centimeters, so almost a meter long, just for the shells. The animal will be much bigger than that.
Okay.
And and this is the beauty of the research that has occurred is that last year we came into this mindset of we're in St. John, it's near shore habitat, so it's going to be little hawksbills, little juvenile hawksbills, which you want recruitment, you want new hawksbills to come here and grow up here. But what we didn't expect is in a couple of bays around here, we absolutely found some huge hawksbills. So plus 70 centimeters, high 60s, and even some of the turtles we caught this week, still, we just didn't quite expect the size that we had, 55 plus 50. So these animals are getting to be like plus 35, 40-pound animals.
Interesting.
So it's a really good sign because every hawksbill that we've caught, for the most part, actually no, so every hawksbill that we have caught here has been healthy and looking good, and then some of them are just downright fat, which is great.
So do you
Yep.
think that they are older, or are they just like healthy and chonky, or both?
So for anybody that doesn't know, there's an exponential growth rate that slows on hawksbills. So when they're small, when they're 20 centimeters, 25 centimeters, 30 centimeters, they grow very rapidly, and then it tailors off as they get older and bigger, and the growth rate slows down.
Right.
And so what we've seen here, which is great, is that trend is holding in St. John. So they are growing very quickly, very fast, and that's a good sign. They're doing what they're supposed to do. We had a turtle actually yesterday to end the project that we hadn't seen in about a year, and while the growth rate wasn't huge, it was only I want to say about 6 to 7 centimeters a year, which I thought I would have expected more, but he or she doubled in weight in a year, which is nice.
What?
Yep. So all of a sudden the turtle goes from about 1.5 kilos to 3 kilos. So you're looking at about 6.5 to 3 pounds to about 6 pounds. So that's, think about yourself, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the body positivity. If I doubled in weight, people would not be like, "Good
Exactly.
for you,
No
you're
one,
healthy."
no one would. Exactly. No one would congratulate you. Going roughly 200 pounds to 400 pounds. So,
I grew 6 centimeters. I doubled in weight. I am winning in life.
Exactly. So it's a good sign. And again, yesterday was a great day. We had a great day to end. We saw 4 turtles. We actually documented 3, so we captured 3. And again, feisty, healthy. Really, it's a good sign for St. John.
That's really cool. So you keep saying we. Are you bringing in different volunteers every time? Do you have a core team? I know that training is important. Like you're not just going to bring somebody off the street, off the beach. But are you using different teams everywhere you do your research, or how do you figure that out?
So I specifically set up the Hawksbill Project to basically go into and ideally work with a local project that's already there. So we actually did a project for 2 years in Caribou, which broke my heart. They got absolutely smacked by Hurricane Beryl. But we usually go in there and work with the local turtle project. So hopefully it's an expertise they already possess. St. John's a little different. St. John's a little different. That team isn't here. You know, French is doing a great job with their nesting work on St. John. Tonya and Willow, amazing. But again, so for this project, we had to bring in that team or people from around the island. So we took 3 or 4 people from St. Thomas, and then I brought in 2 other people with me. So,
Okay.
So it is one of the difficulties of these types of projects is you have to bring in the expertise to know how to do the work, and you also have to bring in people who understand you're going to be in the water for 8 hours a day. There's going to be some swell, some current. You're going to be, it's not snorkeling in the Mach, okay, basically.
Right. Yeah. Well, that is really cool. I'm just checking. We've been talking for about 25 minutes, which has flown by. It feels like about 30 seconds. But I think my last question for you is, it's going to end up being 5. But how did you get into studying sea turtles? What was your inspiration? What was that click? How? I want to know emotionally, and then I want to know logistically.
So easy enough. This is an easy question. I was snorkeling on the Great Barrier Reef in 2002, and a friend tugged my flipper. I looked left. I saw a green sea turtle, and that was it. That was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I was like, I want to do that. And so everything basically since then was, kind of end up starting volunteering for some projects, some work in South Texas, and then I did work in Grenada, Barbados, and back to Grenada, and so it's been a long road, but that's you just basically have to get out there and then keep going.
Cool, excellent, and also become an expert free diver, and the science background. So just a few things.
Well, I mean, hey, UBI Marine and Environmental Science programs, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. So found out where the hospitals there were, on St. Thomas. It's a good spot, and yeah, so you just got to go for it, really.
Excellent. And I also want to give you one plug. You just mentioned the Hawksbills on St. Thomas near UBI. It is thanks to your research that the cove next to the airport is called Hawksbill Cove. You did that. I mean, with a lot of help. I know that it would, everything takes a team, but that's cool.
It was, and it was hilarious because I actually called. So if anyone doesn't know, there's actually something called the Port of Geographic Names. I did not know that exists. It's an entity that basically names geographic, locations in the U.S. I called them awkwardly, asked them if this was the right number. The nicest, sweetest, softest spoken lady called me back. I then followed all the procedure, and about 6 months later, unanimous Hawksbill Cove.
That's so cool. So, for anyone on St. Thomas, or if you're visiting St. Thomas, when you're landing at the airport, look out the right side. I guess it depends on how you're landing. We normally land from the water, so not the brewer's side, but the right side. As soon as I say that, some plane's going to come in the other direction. I don't know. But that is Hawksbill Cove, thanks to research that happened at the university with Scotty and the turtle researchers there, and that is just so cool. So, just another example of the experiences you can have with different types of research. Now you named a place. That's so cool. Very cool.
No, that's it. And for anyone out there, it's 14 days. It's time. Dr. Paul Jobs is at the University of the Virgin Islands was instrumental. Chris Young actually donated housing in Cruz Bay during Carnival at Love City Lofts. It was
Whoa.
amazing. Yep.
So
Tim
you
Allen.
juve for turtles?
Yeah, so Tim Allen out here in California was incredible. Anyone who doesn't know, so our projects cost about $20,000 US. So that's what this takes to kind of get this information. I think it's a bargain personally, but you know. And so Friends of the Virgin Islands National Park came through and donated 60% of the project budget for this. So that was huge for them. Tonya and Willow are fantastic and friends. So the beauty of all this, really, I mean, even so, if you know Rob Tutton, his partner Karen at Canines, Cats, and Critters, I believe it's called.
Yep.
She actually gave us her car for the week after we had an issue. So the beauty of this St. John project, and actually this is why I love the Virgin Islands so much. This is really a community project where people come in and go, I want to help, and then they actually back up and they donate. They give us housing or bars or food. Tim at St. John Tap Room, which is one of my favorite places, he gave us $300 just to the tap room, so that was all spent on food. So that was so lovely after 8 hours of looking for turtles. You go in there and just have some AC and something to eat, which is fantastic.
Nice.
So this is a huge community project, and so I can't thank enough people for making this happen.
Amazing. I love our community. I love to hear that, for the good of the turtle. So I know I said that was my last question,
Nope.
but as we wrap up, what is your take-home message? What do you want us to remember, whether it's protecting sea turtles, doing research, what do you want us to remember?
What do I want you to remember?
Except for everything, because we're going to rewind.
Yeah, I was gonna say
anyway,
that's a good question. It's just one of those things where what is the take-home message? The take-home message would be specifically because St. John is a beautiful place. It really does need Hawksbills, and the take-home message is I would really consider, if you're out there, supporting Friends of the Virgin Islands National Park. They're the ones who are hopefully going to be here for the long term, protecting the island's Hawksbills. That's the message that I would say.
Cool. Excellent. I love it.
Yep.
Well, Scotty, thank you so much for joining us this morning, especially coming off of this research project. I know you're exhausted. I did one day volunteering with a sea turtle project on St. Thomas, and I swam Brewers for like 30 minutes, and I was like, I can't go on. But that's why I'm a manager, not a researcher. So everyone, look up the Hawksbill Project on Facebook. Take a look at those amazing photos. Donate, help, spread the word. I'm going to do a long wave goodbye as Chantel. By the way, shout out to Chantel, who has decided to stay on silent with no photo because she is keeping everything organized and everything is fantastic. So thank you, Chantel. And we're going to wave while you hit end live video. Bye. Goodbye.